excited again to welcome my friends and featured artists here at High End for the month of April, which is Poetry Month. They're featured artists here at the shop for the entire month. They have a lot of really great pieces up front that are really priced to sell. So if you want a unique, one-of-a-kind Chris Luna, Toni Partington, or Lombrazo Luna piece, go up there, check them out before you leave. We're so excited that you guys decided to be features, and thank you so much. So first we're going to hear from Chris Luna.
Thank you, Morgan. And yeah, we're super excited to have our visual artwork up. We've been treated very well by the visual art community, and the reason why the prices are as low as they are is we want these pieces of art to have a home somewhere, so think about it. So I'm going to just read two and then hand it over to Toni, and the first one is a poem by our friend Dan Raphael, a Portland poet, very active there, one of the best performers that I've ever seen. He recently wrote this poem to record to be read on KBOO, and I thought that it was a good way to remind us that not everywhere in the world are things as groovy as they are here in Washington State. So here's Dan's poem. Now that marijuana is legal, you can smoke without fines or jail. The pots all be tested. You won't get arrested. Every corner has flour on sale. In most of the states of our nation, a little pot leads to incarceration. Many jailed girls and guys who just wanted to get high, deemed ex-cons for their whole lives' durations. So dear listener, please thanks all the fates that put you where the pot's safe and great. As you light up your J, ask the world for the day when booze legal in all 50 states. That's Dan Raphael. This next poem I read because I borrowed a line from Morgan Hutchinson. I have a reputation for doing that. And I wanted to thank her for having us here today, and also just acknowledge that this line came from her. And the line, which you'll hear in a moment, is, "Every day our actions become inedible." And the poem is called "Making Peace with O'Hara's Pistachio Tree." Brought into the pink, slipped through the firmament, last remaining barrier between ego and its satisfaction. Every day our actions become inedible. Nothing to prevent the final morsel's inevitable demise upon your waiting tongue. Never have been very good at waiting or inclined to say no. No will, no restraint. Eventually, even the sturdiest board will break. Steam leniency rate, given to break, wrought to fly. Steal a fantasy, stake your claim. Folded just below table's surface, your ruination lies in wait. And the sepulcher jumps and jounces and turns pink with wrath. And now the last line is Frank O'Hara, so I guess when you title your poem Making Peace with O'Hara's Pistachio Tree, you're at least partly hoping that you can send some youngsters out to read Frank O'Hara. And next, it's my pleasure to introduce my wife and partner in truth and beauty, Toni Luna, also known as Toni Partington.
Too many names. I decided I'm just going to go by Toni. That'll be enough.
Through the beauty.
Yeah, maybe that too. Thank you all for coming. Thank you to High End Marketplace, to Morgan and Gareth for championing their dream to make this place open and staying on it for the time it took to make it happen. It wasn't an easy thing. You go through all kinds of hoops trying to get a license to sell legal cannabis, and they did it, and they made this place incredibly hospitable. I feel welcome every time I come in, and I'm grateful for it. Thank you all, and here we go. I want to read something I wrote quite a long time ago when it wasn't easy to get a hold of any cannabis, and this might sort of strike a note with all of you. It's called Making a Life. This section is called Grass. Mules trek up a dry riverbed, avoid La Migra and the desert heat. On their backs, not green, damp dicandra, blue fescue, or Kentucky cool. On their backs, hard brown bricks, buds of Sisamea, Oaxacan, Colombian. Prosper, Seat the brass ring, these mules cost 50 bucks. Pack it in on their backs for backyard barbecues on summer lawns where sprinklers feed the grass and no one confuses the two. Ooh. Good, try that. What has become of silence? There are tunes everywhere, in grocery stores, waiting rooms, everywhere public. What has become of silence? Days when phones rang with real ringing, in homes, behind closed doors, when privacy mattered. Today, no matter what is said, others eavesdrop like window peepers to feed upon tidbits, enticements, free secrets. We hear test results, gossip, dinner plans. Every humdrum detail is unveiled. Remember when calls in public were guarded in boxes of aluminum and glass? Coffins with folding doors, phone books tethered by steel cords, coin slots, graffiti, dead cigs on the floor. Always that echo, visible but silent, seen, not heard. A time when I love you traveled from my lips to your ears and no further. This one's called 5th grade priority. First recess, bounce and slap it back off top of double knotted keds, hard to say. Across the line into the square, the ball's low echo, fast and out of reach. Liner, I yell, you're out and it's my serve. Pleated skirts, rolled socks on friends lined up for turns, feet planted, eyes fixed, hands chapped and sweaty. Rubber ball red hot on asphalt lined and cracked. Dust above white paint faded by sun and your leather soles. Bell rings, one more turn. I spell Europe on the blackboard in cursive strokes, then steal the chalk for squares in the driveway at home. Sitting still and passing notes, I am bored with arithmetic. Later, they ask. Sure, I'll be there. Before lunch, after lunch, every recess, no matter when, I stand alone, undefeated. I am the queen of Foursquare. Yeah, 5th grade priority. Yeah. At the stoplight. First I see the dog, a scrawny mix of terrier tethered to a blue leash on the corner of 4th Plain and Auto Mall Drive. Then I see the couple, barely 16, their eyes transfixed on each other in this hour between dusk and dark. I wait for the long red light, watching them through tinted windows and my doors locked tight. She reaches to push the crosswalk button and he can't let her go. Their hands connected, she strains to reach over the wide space all concrete and cracked. She smiles. He leans into her grin to rub her lips with his chin. They are in love, I think. They are in 16-year-old love, so intense that any seconds spent apart are painful, even the seconds it takes to push the button. Walk, don't walk. Run, don't run, yes, run. Run from the inevitable distractions of young love. Run from that unforeseen pain of your first broken heart. They touch, arms and hands joined, fingers entwined, and her hair in his face like a gift from the wind. The dog is ignored, the traffic ignored, and me I watch ignored too. They turn away from the button, the crosswalk, and me. Her hand holds the strap of his carpenter pants. His hand drapes her tiny waist. They walk away, whispering, gliding above the dirty pavement. And I smile at remembrances of the glorious time in youth when we could afford to ignore everything else but each other.
That's a good poem. I just wanted to say that's a good poem, Toni.
Hand drapes her waist. Chicken skin.
I want to read this next poem, and I want to dedicate it to Brad and Gus, who actually was always my dream of many things for our wedding, but one of the things at the top of the list was to have Brad and Gus play at our wedding last July. And you know, for a couple who's been together 8+ years and then decides to get married, who else do you want? But Brad and Gus tell the truth about things. So anyway, this for you guys, and it's called Syncopation. Syncopation is snow inside the clock tower, a sound full and deep, cursed with melancholy, a thud that lingers in the thin air between the bells. Syncopation is holiness under the crow's wing. Feathers beat like breath, thumping a plea too late for clemency, subsumed in shadows like martyrs in quicksand. Who will sing the melody when the bells silence, and the crow's nubile throat is forever shuttered, lost in the whim of fate or an ordeal by fire? The only sign left in the wind after our transgressions, when it's too late to push the reset button or to retrieve loved ones pushed beyond an arm's length. Before the world ends, I want to accept that nothing is as pure as love. Nothing is as simple as the rat-tat-tat of the heart. My time keeps over there.
2:13.
Okay, thank you.
Say it a little bit louder.
I have a piece out on the wall, and it was originally named Play-Doh She, and it now has a title with the word fire in it that has to do with the last line. And the poem's been edited actually since I made the piece, but I wanted to read the piece, and I wanted to read it for my girls who are in the audience today. Play-Doh She. She has been filled with Play-Doh for decades, putty for her spine and a rib cage that holds a malleable heart. Outside, sun-hardened clay contains milkweed and a dissident trace of billowing wind. Inside, mixtures in fresh pots are so many colors and every shade of blue. Play-Doh oozes through her veins. Lovers make blobs of her sensibilities. She analyzes every shapeless form. Play-Doh She is tired, crawling to the wheel so that weathered hands can caress fresh clay. Tomorrow, she will spin into a chalice and free her soul toward freedom. We have Mother's Day coming up in a couple of weeks, and I have a whole book, a whole first chapter in the book for my mother, but this is not for her, but it reminds me of so many things in our family. My family is from Italy, and there were so many stories in the old days, and this particular poem makes me think of those stories. It's called Back from Sicily. He told everyone in the bar he'd left his wife behind. Says, if I marry again, it's going to be to one who can't talk. Gets laughs. Gets laughs from the old timers. He's thinking with his little man. Can't believe these American women deliver opinions like volcano lava. They never shut up. Didn't imagine companionship would be costly. Says, Italian women are warm and have brothers. It's okay until someone loses a testicle. Remember Cousin Gino and all those old songs? His chorus sits on stools, sings conventional wisdom. Still, he says, dinners are lonely. One plate and a single fork. Nothing like the old days when they danced all night without shoes. He carried her to the car, lit 2 Chesterfields for the drive home. She signaled readiness with Frank Sinatra records. Led him to their bed. He'd kiss her tiny hands and they'd rock for hours. Went on like this for years. She gave him a son, 2 daughters, a tidy home, hot meals and laughter. He worked hard, faithful and true, not like his brothers. He had a queen, everyone knew. Then the middle years, and the doctors, and the death sentence, and months blurred. Promised he'd take her home to Sicily, to the hills outside the village. Leave her there. Say goodbye. Tonight he calls their oldest, says, things change. They stopped making Chesterfields, and the place on the corner sells tacos. What would your mother think? They both sit in silence, miles apart, focused on a single memory of her. Woo! I want to close with this one. It's called It Matters to Notice These Things. 2 enormous crows made in the sycamore out front, silently, shiny black wings extended. It's 1 o'clock on a Tuesday, warmest day since winter thaw, my first day without socks. I want to be the crow, eat worms and gum wrappers, and mate without privacy on the front lawn. Woo! Before I can back into the street, they've finished. Lean together on the branch, first spring foliage provides little seclusion, and they could care less about these things. Just off the curb, I sit, stare, watch to see if intimacy exists between them, between crows. We humans are love scavengers. Crows of emotion, we skim the surface, peck our way through the top layer of romance, unable to mine riches of the heart with tools dulled by hurt and a hard outer shell. I think about intimacy a lot these days. Too much. I notice when couples don't touch, wonder how love can possibly endure in this world. The biggest crow hops a branch, slow glide to center yard, stares me down. I want to be the crow. Let him have my life, pay bills and feel the weight of all this nonsense. Imagine me, cawing at the neighbors, shiny black wings extended under afternoon sun.
Coming up next, River Twain.
Yeah.
Yeah, stick around.